Auspicious greetings to all friends from around the world. My name is Venerable Zhi Xing. Thank you for joining our online English Dharma service. I'll be sharing some of the teachings from the 8 realizations of the Bodhisattva's Sutras. The second realization is, realize that more desires cause more suffering. The weariness of the cycle of birth and death arises from greed and desires. Lessen desires and be without any wishes, and the body and mind will be at ease. An important insight to learn from the second realization is that desires and craving are the cause of sufferings. Actually, in addition to the 8 realization of Bodhisattva Sutras, Buddha had talked about craving being the cause of sufferings in many other sutras as well. Craving is being described as unquenchable thirst, or the fever of unsatisfied longing. You can imagine this scenario. Suppose we're walking in the desert and we're out of water. We crave to drink, and we might drive ourselves crazy thinking about drinking. This mental turmoil, where we think about drinking, look for something to drink, and end up disappointed over and over again, is the sufferings from this unquenched thirst. This is the same for all our other cravings, which ultimately leads to our sufferings in life. As we learn that craving gives rise to sufferings, it then begs the questions of where does this craving come from? In one of the sutras, the Buddha said, "And where does this craving, when arising, arise? And where, when dwelling, does it dwell?" Whatever is endearing and alluring in terms of the world, that is where does craving, when arising, arise. That is where, when dwelling, it dwells. What is endearing and alluring in terms of the world? The Buddha told us it's what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and our thoughts. And in other words, anywhere where we find it pleasant, such as sensual pleasures, wealth, power, fame, or even our own view, ideas, concepts, and perceptions we crave for. In the commentary on the Discourse on Right View, the Buddha told us that it is through the gratification in pleasant feeling that we become enamored of that feeling. After arousing craving for that pleasant feeling, we are seized by lust for that feeling. It is a very strong force, like the force of a waterfall. Interestingly enough, we can also understand how craving arrives scientifically. According to research, the human brain is wired to reward us when we do something pleasurable. A brain chemical called dopamine is released when the brain is expecting a reward. Therefore, when we associate certain activities with pleasures, whether it's eating a favorite dessert or watching a movie, the mere anticipation may be enough to raise the dopamine levels. This not only makes us feel good, but encourages us to keep on doing whatever that we're doing. It teaches our brain to repeat the behaviors. For example, suppose you like to have a fresh cup of coffee in the morning. Your brain may increase dopamine when you smell the coffee as it is being made. When you drink it, the flood of dopamine acts to reinforce this craving and focus on satisfying it in the future. Thus, we have to have a cup of coffee every morning. And now, imagine that you wake up late and don't have time to make or buy a cup of coffee. You might feel that things are not right. Your disappointment might lower your dopamine level and dampen your mood. It might also intensify your desires for coffee. Now you want it even more. Therefore, slowly, this enjoyment goes from "I want this" to "I need this" to I must have it. The next question we probably ask is, why is craving the cause of sufferings? Craving can lead to performing unwholesome actions that harms others or might ruin one's life, which ultimately leads to negative consequences. Once there were two men named Shan and Wang who were good friends. One day, the two decided to take a walk together. On their way out, they found a large piece of gold. Since they both had seen it at the same time, they decided to divide the piece of gold evenly between them. Then Chen said to Wang, "The god of our city must have left this gold for us. Before we divide it, we should make an offerings at the temple to show our gratitude." Therefore, Cheng went to get some food while Wang went to the temple to prepare it. As they were on their way, craving for possessing all the gold started to eat at both men. Both of them thought, if my friend gets half of the gold, there will be less for me. With the craving, Chen purchased a vial of poison with the food, while Wang concealed an axe near the table where they would eventually dine. After they have completed their offering, as was the custom in their town, they took the food out so that they can eat it when they get home. As Chen poured the poison into the soup, Wang's axe fell on his head. After Chen died, Wang decided that he might as well enjoy some soup before he left with the gold. Before he had consumed half of the soup, his abdomen was shot through with pain, and he died in the dirt beside his former friend's body. Craving can lead a person in committing unwholesome actions that harm oneself and others. If we look at the news, the roots of lots of the crimes is the craving a person has, whether it's for sensual pleasures, wealth, fame, or attachment to one's view or ideas. In addition, craving is like this unquenchable thirst that keep on eating at us, giving rise to our afflictions. This is like there's a lady called Mary. She loved to go shopping. Shopping makes her feel very happy. Therefore, whenever she didn't have a good day, she would go shopping. She feels happy at the moment. However, it also gives her worries and frustration when she sees her credit card bill. This frustration and anxieties increase as she realizes that she spends more than she makes. She knows she shouldn't go shopping anymore, yet her craving is tempting her at all times. She keeps on telling herself that she would stop after today, but every time she would still go shopping. As a result, her mind goes into this turmoil, juggling between feeling happy for a very short time and going back to feeling angry at herself and feeling frustrated. This more or less happened to all of us. Craving gives rise to our mental turmoil, afflictions, and sufferings. We should take a moment to reflect upon our own life. Did I become a slave to my own desires? Once there was a beautiful horse, and it discovered a hill that has lots of grasses on it with a river nearby. The horse was very happy and excited because it didn't need to run around to find grasses and water anymore. One day, a deer came over and started to eat the grass. As the horse saw it, it ran over and told the deer that he had discovered the hill first. Therefore, other animals shouldn't be eating the grass on there. The deer said, "Do you have proof that you discovered the field first?" The horse replied that he will find the proof. The horse went down the hill and asked the man who lived there to be his witness. The man thought about it and said, "I can be your witness, but you must agree to let me ride you up to the hill and put the horse saddle and bridle on you." Thinking of the grass field, the horse readily agreed. The man rode the horse back to the hill and told the other animals that the horse was the first to discover the field. The other animal laughed after hearing the man's words, and the horse became the owner of the field. However, the man had never taken off the horse bridles and saddled afterward. The horse was forced to work every day on the field, therefore becoming a slave to that man and a slave to his own desires. We might think that the horse is silly. However, if we reflect upon ourselves and our desires, aren't we doing the same thing? As we work to buy a house, a car, getting things we want, or go travel, we become their slaves as well, just like the horse. We go into a cycle of working hard to make money, then buy the things we want. After getting what we want, we go back to work for the next item we want and continue on. Our craving and desires are limitless. When are we really going to simply enjoy the moment and enjoy all that we currently have? How then should we work with our craving? First of all, we should understand that not all desires are bad. The desires to help others, to do good deeds, to be a good person, to learn the Dharma, and to attain enlightenment are wholesome desires that we should cultivate. These wholesome desires will help us discover the happiness within, instead of giving us more sufferings. As we help others or do good deeds and so on, we will feel happy. We should work on the wholesome desires so that they slowly become a habit and a part of our life. Aside from working on wholesome desires, we should practice to decrease and ultimately eliminate craving that leads to suffering. To decrease and eliminate our craving, we should first take some time to reflect upon the following questions. What things or activities make me feel gratified? What experience give me a moment of delight? What do I enjoy that these activities become a daily habit? How do I feel when I don't get to enjoy these things or do these activities? Do these cravings lead me to act or speak in a certain way? Do these actions or speeches lead to negative consequences? Only through reflections would we be able to notice the desires that we have in life. There are desires and cravings that become so familiar to us that they become invisible to us, just like the desires to drink a cup of coffee every morning. Mindfulness can help us become aware of the desires that arise. If we can notice the desires that arise, we can start to have a dialogue with ourselves. As desires arise, we can analyze for ourselves what experience give me gratifications, and what are the drawbacks or dangers of letting ourselves follow our desires and craving. With these gentle reminders, we can choose not to act upon these cravings and end it at that. Therefore, it won't lead to sufferings. Last, the Buddha once told us that practicing giving can help decrease and counteract our craving. Through giving, we learn to let go of the self-attachment and our attachment to material things. Also, we'll feel happy when we see others feeling happy. Once, there was a Chan master who planted a whole garden of chrysanthemums. After a year, the whole garden was filled with the beautiful flowers. The fragrance from the flowers attracted many visitors, and some even asked the Chan master for one. The Chan master would dig the whole plant out and give it away. As more people came to ask for the flowers were all gone within a few days. The garden became bare and empty. One disciple said to the Chan master, "It's such a pity. The whole garden should be filled with the beautiful chrysanthemum." The Chen master smiled and said, "Think about it. Next year, the whole village below will be filled with chrysanthemums." The disciple felt excited and happy upon hearing Master's words of a whole village of chrysanthemums. The Chen master said, "We should share all the beautiful things with others so that everyone can feel this happiness. Even though we may not have anything, but we will feel this happiness within. This is true happiness." As Venerable Master Xinyin said, to enjoy and appreciate is sufficient enough. We don't need to own it. Giving seems to only benefit others. Just like the Chen master gave away all the flowers, he ended up with nothings. However, it actually benefit ourselves. As the Chen master said, in the end, we will have true happiness within. Think about it. If we practice giving, we will nurture good relationships with others, and we will learn to let go. What goes around comes around. Therefore, with giving, our life will be filled with happiness and hope. Venerable Master Xinyin once said that Guang was built because of giving. Therefore, he taught us to practice the forgiving, giving others faith, giving others joy, giving others hope, and giving others convenience. To conclude, an important insight from the second realization is we should realize that craving is the cause of sufferings. To work with it, we should cultivate our wholesome desires, to be mindful of the craving that arise in our daily life, and to practice the forgivings. Last but not least, thank you for joining us in the Dharma service. May Buddhas and Bodhisattvas bless everyone with happiness and peace. 阿弥陀佛。